So, the Elimination Chamber has finished, and as always, please do make sure you go to What Culture Wrestling, watch my ups and downs. But over here, too, we have a little bit of a calmer conversation about it. And I'm just going to say this, given that really is a B pay-per-view premium live event, thought it was a very nice show. The reason I use the word nice is because, look, they don't often go to Australia. So what we made sure we did here is we gave Indy Hartwell her moment, and we gave Rhea Ripley her super-duper moment. And like I say, it was just lovely. I always like to remember that these people are human beings, and they're out there living all of their dreams. Right now, they'll be backstage somewhere, probably crying, going, oh gosh, I'm the happiest person ever. And I like that. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. I don't know who I'm pointing at. Bronson Reed also tweeted out during this show and actually said the reason he wasn't able to go is because his wife did give birth early, so he made a choice, and Triple H quote tweeted that too. So I also thought that was great. So this was just lovely jubbly all round. And we do start with the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax has been really good since she has come back after she did get fired. She just plays her role so well. Not every single person has to be super duper whooper 5-star classic. Goes in there, she's an old school heel, she beats people up, and eventually she gets the tide turned on her, which is somewhat of a pun, and she loses 1, 2, 3. And talking about that riptide, you could just tell they'd said beforehand, I'm going to jump so hard. And Rhea was like, man, I'm going to pull you up so hard. I actually thought it looked pretty damn good, that spot with the table as well. When it didn't break, I mean, that looked horrible because poor Rhea just got slammed with no give whatsoever. And Jax to go, right, you damn Al in the announce table, you want to screw with me? I'm going to stand on a chair and just throw my elbow through it. Listen, man, you had all the crowd going crazy for this. Rhea Ripley can use this as a platform to become an even bigger star, and she's already massive. That Women's World Championship is now becoming a big deal, which I also like. I got no problem with it. I said it on ups and downs as well. Even after Rhea's entrance, because I thought it was so emotional, to use somewhat of a silly word. If they had sat in there and played tiddlywinks, or chess, or checkers, or a game of Monopoly, I'd have been like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. Because that's why wrestling is so nuts. Sometimes it's not even about what you're doing in the ring, it's everything else around it. And yes, it's exactly what I expect. Somebody put a gun to my head, my favorite saying, and I tried to map this out on a piece of paper, I probably would have got it 95% right. But that doesn't matter. It wasn't about that. Just thought it was, well, just really well done. And I thought it was the same for both chambers as well. Like, I thought there was more intrigue in the men's one, just because I didn't know who was going to win, whereas I convinced myself that Becky Lynch was going to win the women's one as she did. But in terms of how they were all put together, I mean, I think they were pretty much on par. And you know me, I'm still the same old G. I don't really like it when people go, oh, which one was better than the other? Because I think it's pointless. They both existed in their own bubbles, and they both did a great job. However, I also understand that we're living in 2024. And I think maybe the women's one edged it a bit, just because there were so many good, funny moments that organically came out of it. Like Tiffany Stratton being the Australian fans' favourite wrestler was the greatest thing ever. In no world did I think Liv Morgan was going to eliminate Tiffany Stratton. Boo, boo. I love stuff like that. The chaos is the coolest thing. And some of the crazy moves they were doing. I also liked it that we made sure Raquel Rodriguez got her moment too. Kind of intrigued about what we do with her now, because I don't want to say she's directionless because she's only just come back, but there are a lot of other women in the division now that you could now call power wrestlers. I think we have to give her something different. I'm still convinced she'd work better as a heel, even though she's clearly a nice person. That does resonate through the screen, but maybe it would be worth a try. I don't know. I don't write the show. There's a good reason for it. Becky, as always, is just great, and I love seeing Naomi being back as well, and seeing her and Becky go at it was cool, because of course they used to be a tag team, and we haven't seen that match in ages. And yeah, everybody else just got in there. They did their thing. Bianca Belair, as always, can just do it all. She can work with big guys, small guys, little guys, up, down guys, left guys, right guys. She's just a super over mega baby face. And I really did like sort of the final 2 minutes, which turned into a sprint, because you had Bianca going for the 450. She goes into Becky's knees. Then all of a sudden Liv Morgan is doing stuff and people are flying all over the place, and then had Morgan reverse that one KOD, so then Belair went for another KOD on Lynch, I think, and that didn't work. So then Liv zooms in and hits the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, 1, 2, 3, and she's so happy she forgets about Becky. Manhandle slam, 1, 2, 3. I like it when you get those shotguns. It's like boom, boom, boom. I think it keeps you on your toes, which is always enjoyable. And outside of the crazy stuff that we did off the top of pods, like dives and sunset flip bombs, I just think it was a well put together, I don't know what the match time was, like 35 minutes or something like that. And you had the crowd into it as well, especially because it was the opening match, so they had all this energy. I just thought it was good. And I think that kind of does sum up the show as a whole. It was just sort of there, but when you were done, you were like, I'm glad I used my entertainment minutes to spend it on this. And it was the same with the men's one as well. Again, the funniest part of that was just Kevin Owens being an insane person. Because he wasn't going to win, clearly he must have gone to someone and said, well, can I just be the nuts guy? He was smashing his head on the pod to try to get to Logan Paul. When Logan Paul got the and he was allowed to go, he got absolutely murked by Kevin Owens, for Bobby Lashley was spearing everybody through the pods. And maybe there was a little bit more story to this one, because of course Karrion Kross had injured Bobby Lashley on SmackDown. That's the way that Drew McIntyre was able to take him out. And speaking of Drew, he had a wonderful tale running through this, which is what he's been telling us for the last few weeks. I don't care anymore. I'm going to win. However the flub, I'm going to win. So anytime somebody got screwed over by somebody else, Drew was there to make the cover. And of course, we had AJ Styles. And this probably could have been my favorite part of the evening. I'm debating myself now. But you have to look at it in kayfabe. And I tweeted this, cheap plug Simon of 316, and on the old Insta too. AJ Styles, in the world of the story, flew 17 hours to Australia because he hates LA Knight so much, he just wanted to cost him his match at Mania. I think that's great. Also ties into what they can do at WrestleMania 2. Somebody did mention to me, do I think LA Knight has cooled off a bit? And he has, but I'm hoping we've got long-term plans for him. And of course, it happened at the end of the match too. This was a really cool shot. The way Logan Paul got taken out is they had the brass knucks, had been hiding them next to his penis. So the camera was sort of really close in on his face, and Randy Orton does the RKO out of nowhere. When Logan does the same thing to him, he appeared out of nowhere at the end of the match, the brass knucks, he punches him in the face, and what does Drew do? He just pins Orton. We've already talked about it, but it also means we've opened the door for potentially, and you can go many ways with this, Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul, which would make sense why Kevin Owens never got his revenge over Logan. That's a cool three-way, especially for the US title. If we tie it back into WrestleMania 39, I get that we're kind of treading on toes here, but I do like the theme of it in many ways, because you had the Intercontinental Championship match, which was Drew, Gunther, and Sheamus. And doing it with those three, you're going to get a very different style of match, but I also think it raises a bar. And also, anytime Kevin Owens and Randy Orton were interacting, I did start thinking to myself, oh my gosh, that would work. And of course, Kevin Owens was eliminated by Randy Orton. So again, everyone had a reason about why they got eliminated. It all ties into WrestleMania, which was the same for the women's one too. And look what we're getting out. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, absolutely. That could main event night 2, and I would be happy, although of course it won't do. And Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins, I'm not going to get mad at it. I still think there's a twist in the tail. And once again, we're talking about people that should win at WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre should probably leave Philadelphia as the brand new World Heavyweight Champion. The tag team match I thought was really fun as well. Judgment Day versus the New Catch Republic. I'm just going to call them the Star Wars guys. Not much to say about it. Again, it didn't really have much jeopardy to it because I knew that Judgment Day wouldn't lose the titles because we should save that till WrestleMania. But in terms of a match, oh my gosh, they're all such good wrestlers. It's ridiculous. Having Dominic Mysterio included as well, I thought was really smart. And then you had the Grayson Waller effect segment. Now listen, I kind of thought that maybe it would tie into an impromptu tag match. Maybe it was a little disappointing because we had that tease on SmackDown when Grayson Waller and Roman Reigns were talking. And apparently it was just for Grayson to go, hey man, you should acknowledge Roman Reigns, he's really great. But we did make sure we had Cody Rhodes challenge The Rock for a one-on-one match. Seth Rollins obviously did the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're going to do a tag match instead. But again, as I said on Ups and Downs, what I think we've done here is that Cody is now deliberately not telling us what he talked to The Rock to about before that SmackDown, which we need the information, because it's all a ruse, it's all a trick, and they've already come up with this. I mean, it doesn't make any sense really. There's so many plot holes in it, but I don't care because I'm enjoying it. And eventually after The Rock does turn, it will be like, that's why we did it to you, Roman. We want to take it all away. And if that's the case, and that's the reason we are kind of tiptoeing around it, although how we're going to get there, I don't know, then I actually think this Grayson Waller effect will have more gravitas than it does at the moment. But otherwise, yes, it was just a way to get Seth on the show, to get Cody on the show, make sure Grayson got his big pop, and Austin Theory was there to get his ass whipped. I mean, is that really so bad? Maybe if you were treating the Elimination Chamber as WrestleMania, sure, but that's dumb. It's not WrestleMania. It's like people saying this Batman game wouldn't be good if Batman wasn't in it. He's flubbing in it. Seth also told us that he's going to be recovered from his knee injury in a few days, so there's loads we can do, although I'd still wrap him up in cotton wool. And that was it. That was the show. It flew by. You knew what you were going to get. You knew what the temp poles were. And I think WWE achieved their goal very well in the sense I just had a good time. Not everything can be like a super duper home run, right? Or a 5-star classic, or whatever other words you want to use. Sometimes it can just be, I stopped by, I left. There is too much padding in these shows. Way too many adverts, way too many videos. For some reason now I want to book a trip to Western Australia. But I suppose after a while you're like, well, I know that's going to happen. And we could be negative about it every single time. And I think there would be, you know, some sort of justification to that, but it also feels like you're just being a negative Nancy after a while. So it's a thumbs up from me. Really good show. Again, there's comments down there. Definitely let me know what you thought. Definitely check out Ups and Downs over on What Culture. Otherwise, you know the deal. Notification bell, notification crew. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which would be me reacting to all the ratings in WWE 2K24. Speaking of Austin Theories, his all over the place. Patreon.com/Simon316, GrillerMine.com/Simon. Use code Simon, get 10% off. And next week, there's a big old sale. It's going to be 25% off a lot of things, so check that out too. We talked about social media, Simon of 316, Samson Athletics and Pro Wrestling tees for t-shirts. That would absolutely rock. Simon J. Miller on Cameo, Simon Miller on something else. No, that's Cameo. Simon, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've been up so long. This is like the 5th video I've done today, but I enjoy it. I feel privileged. Just interact as much as you feel like you should. And if that's nothing, I appreciate you stopping by anyway. And now we move on to Raw. The flub are we going to do on that show? I don't know. Goodbye.